there. Yeah, bit of a different video today actually. I went to an open mic fairly recently, and I was speaking with somebody who's sort of like were doing playing the open mic, and believe it or not, one person said to me that their guitar was out of tune, and how do you tune it? So we showed them how to tune it. Then the other person said like they'd broken a string. They couldn't bring their guitar because they'd broken a string, and they had to take it to the music shop to get the new strings put on. Now I said, no, you don't do that. You just change them yourself. You change your strings yourself. So I mean, I know this is for the absolutely thing, and for 99% of people out there, it's the. But if you're new to guitar playing, especially if you're slightly older and everything like that, changing the string or changing strings on a guitar might be quite a daunting thing to sort of like watch. So this is just going to be a simple video of how to change, what to do when you change, put a new set of strings on it. Now this is my Beta. It's an old Crafter GA6, I think it is. It's lost all that in the centre. It's got a nice little crack there that we've glued and sealed underneath, but it's, you know, visually it's pretty thing. But as a guitar, it's not too bad actually. These strings are absolutely knackered. So if we listen to it now with the old strings, and later on when we've replaced it, you'll be able to hear the difference. Sounds alright, but it's probably lost quite a lot of top end. It would have lost quite a lot of top end. So I'm going to take all the strings off and think. I'm not going to do the truss rod or anything like that, because actually checking the neck, when you check the neck out, it's got a very, very slight overbow, which is what you want, and the overbow's around here, which is where it should be. So actually and the action is probably, I'd say, getting on for if you do it in millimeters, about at this point here on the 12th fret, I'd say it's about 3.5, 4 mil at the most. So it's actually, you can play it down here quite happily. It plays down there quite happily, so we don't need to lower the action on this anymore. So it's just going to be a straight string change. I got there in the end. Okay, cheers. I'll see you in a minute. Right. Starters. This is the toolkit that I carry in my guitar case. A small pair of needle nose pliers. These ones are bent. You can have the straight ones, but these ones, yeah, they're good for getting things. A pair of cutters. All these little tools are available in. Locally we have, I don't know if it's nationally, but they seem to be around here, a shop called Proper Job, which does all these tools. They're only about £1 or so each. An Allen key, this one fits the truss rod. Okay, get the right size Allen key for your truss rod. And what I use, I got the jasmine essential oil. That's that. And the other thing that you need is a cutting blade, okay? A little blade for a Stanley knife blade, okay? That's all the tools you need, and I carry them in my tool in my guitar bag where I go out, along with a set of strings. Along with the set of strings whenever I go anywhere, or spare strings. I always carry spare strings. I have to anyway, because to be quite honest, I'm notorious for breaking strings whilst playing live. I don't know why. I can rehearse, I can practice all the day long, for days and days and days at home, rehearse and everything like that. As soon as I get out, especially when we're playing in a band and things like that, and I always got to have spare guitars on hand, like, because basically I rinse strings. I'm quite quick at changing strings on on stage without sort of if I have to. But you don't want it. You don't. It's only when you're really going for it you actually knacker the strings, like you break the strings. If you're just strumming gently or anything like that, but strings do go. They do go. Not for being brutalised as well sometimes. But set of spare strings, Allen key, blade, cutters, pliers, and a light essential oil. Okay, alright, that's what we're going to need. And we'll put them down there, next to there, with the GoPro. And that's it. Now to take the strings off, old strings, right, okay, there are many old wives' tale around. God knows what that is in there. I think I must have replaced strings live. Old strings, people say you can boil them and they come back to life again. I've never tried it, to be quite honest. And I think, but if you notice now, I'm just loosening the strings off. I'm taking all the tension off. And I'm going to do that to all the strings. Yeah, and I've turned it the wrong way. Look at that, after all these years. Yeah. And this is the lazy way of doing it, I know, but... And I know lots of people are going to look at this and say, this is you don't do anything like this, you do it differently, and some people get very anal about it. But what I do is this. Voila. And then we can then pick them off the top. And just all you do is take them on the top, unwind them and pull them out. This works fine on all the strings until you will get to the top E in a minute, which I'll show you, which will be a little bit trickier. And I curse it whenever I get to that point, but it's a very good way of stringing them. That one. Now the top E usually can be slightly problematic. Because I've got it going back. You'll see when we string it backwards and forwards. So I just have to go and unwind that. So it's just a little bit thing. Now your old strings, right? Okay. If you throw them in the bin like that, they will climb out the bin and be all over the place. So just wrap them round each other like that, and just tie it over and tie it over. That way you can throw them away, or you can put them in the recycling box without them going everywhere. Yeah, they are metal, the phosphor bronze and everything like that. So now we want to remove the pegs. We have these 6 pegs here. Now I just get them underneath there and I just lift them out. Now put them somewhere safe where you can find them, okay, and don't lose them. Right, they're not expensive pegs, but you can get wood pegs. You can, they say you can improve the sound of your instrument by these are the nut and the bridge and the pegs being made out of bone, you'll find, I think most of these modern guitars, especially these entry levels, which is what this one really is. It's an entry level guitar. It's got some quite reasonable wear on that now, and the same with these. Just tie a bow in them, and they don't go everywhere, because these things foul up your Hoover wonderfully sometimes. Right, and there we go. Okay, now so we've got the guitar completely unstrung now. Okay, now the first thing to do once you've got it nice and clean is this: you've got your neck here, and when you're playing it, all bits of your skin are coming off, and it's all going on there, and it's all thing like that, and that's why we need the blade. So we just take the blade, and we don't do it for it, and basically you just scrape it down. Just scrape it down. You don't have to do this every time, but it's a nice thing to do to keep your neck clean. And another thing is, when you're playing your guitar, you want your fingernails cut. Okay. Not only does it does make playing a lot easier, and it can make your fingers faster. But if you don't have your fingernails cut, these rosewood boards aren't very. They're not hard. They're hardwood, but they're not ebony or anything like that. And you start cutting grooves into this, and before long, if you carry on and you're playing it quite a lot and you're cutting loads of grooves into it, the neck becomes unplayable. Now, I'm not going to get down to the bottom of the grooves on this. I've already got some grooves coming in this guitar. It's about 5 years old, this guitar. It's seen quite a lot of action. It's already had the frets redressed once, because they got worn quite, I don't, this is one thing I think about entry level guitars as well. Like, the materials, I think they skimp on the materials sometimes. Like, the frets are a softer metal, because the wear in these frets, it's quite dramatic for such a young guitar. And I've got a guitar here that is, I think it's pushing 40 years old, and the frets have never been dressed on it ever. I took it apart, I restrung it the other day, and they're beautifully worn up and down. There's no finger grooves into the neck, but that's 40 years, and these ones have got probably about the same amount of wear in 5 years, and they've been dressed already as well. So all I'm doing here is just scraping these. As you get further up the neck, it's not so terrible, because you're not playing up there quite so often. So they just scrape that nice and thing until you get that, and you'll see it as you get it. You'll see all the muck coming off, and there you go. Right, I'll stop that and I'll finish this off in a minute. Okay. Right, once you've got that all off, you've got a nice rag, and I've got a bit of bry wax here. You just need some wax or something. These are not things that you have to do, but once you've got the neck clip off, you might as well clean up the guitar, because make it look as nice as possible. So under all those bits where the dust catches, you can dust it all out. And I like to get a little bit of wax onto the body of the guitar. Now, there are arguments and things, and you'll find this in the world of musicians. Everybody has a different idea about what's good and what's bad, but quite a few people sort of tend to think that the actual surface of the front of the guitar, the board on the front, if that is sort of like shiny and polished, or if it's clean and polished, it actually improves the sound. Now, I can't verify that 100%, but this guitar has been brutalised its whole life, so it's nice to give it a bit of treatment, really. and I can just rub that in and just polish that up. And go up the neck with a bit of wax, just a little bit of that, and you can see that coming up lovely there. And this is when this comes in. Just another bit of oil all the way up and down the neck. Okay. Just rub that into the neck. The nice thing about jasmine oil, it makes the guitar smell nice. There you go. So that's just yeah, because you've got to love your instruments. Even if you treat them badly, you've got to love them. And they'll love you back. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not a brilliant guitarist. You know, everybody I meet in the biz and everything like that is far better than me. But I get an awful lot of pleasure. I derive so much pleasure playing guitar that, you know, it's just makes life worth living sometimes, actually, to be quite honest. Yeah, and so just rub a little bit of love into it, and there we go. Now it comes to putting it back together again. So that's very, very simple. It's just whilst you got the it all open, it's a nice thing to do. Okay, so there she is, all beautifully and spruced and polished. I don't know where the camera angle is, sorry, but but that's just, yeah, you can just give it a good clean. Okay, so now it comes to restringing the bugger. Take your strings. Now, there are lots of things that you can do, lots of ways you can do, but I tend to do it from as they come. So I bring them as they come. So the first one comes on is the E string. Now I've got these Martin strings, they're bronze and they're custom light, and they go from 11 to 52. 11 to 52, and I find them, I like them. I like them as strings. You'll notice here that one of the pegs here is not the same colour as the other ones, because don't do as I say, not as I do. I lose my pegs. Yes, time again. Right, okay, so up here I wrap it round and I hold it, then I go up again. So I'm up, I come round again, I turn this so it's aiming this way, that way, yep, that's fine, and then I feed it through. Make sure it comes out over the top of the where you've come round, because otherwise it'd just come off. So that one comes here, and that goes down, and that comes out there. And that sticks right into your finger, so you know it's come through. Then pull it tight, and just give it a little twist. Nothing too violent. Now you don't want to tighten it up. Just put a tiny little bit of tension on it. And while you're here, cut that. Give it a haircut. Okie dokie. So that's another. So you notice when you're doing this, you've got lots of bloody old guitar bits of old guitar strings around and everything like that. And then comes the fifth. I plead the fifth. And same thing again. Pop it down inside and put that there like that. Put the peg in, push the peg down, pull it up, all the way up and around. And the same thing on the top here. 1, 2. And through. There are some fancy ways of doing this, and I've seen some really, really clever, fancy ways of doing this. But as long as they're strung well, they'll stay in tune. And they can stay in tune for bloody ages, actually, to be quite honest. There you go. I did. That was quite funny. That somebody was complaining that they couldn't play their song at this open mic because the guitar was out of tune. And it turned out that they had a guitar teacher. And one of the things a guitar teacher would do was tune their guitar for them. And they never showed them how to tune guitar. Well, I thought that was a bit mean. Yeah. One of the things, actually, if you are learning to play guitar or you are practicing playing guitar, is you've got tuners nowadays. Back when I started, we didn't have such things, and we used to tune to our ear. It's pretty good practice to do that. Now and again, just practice to your ear. Now you can see that I'm just pushing these on. So this one goes around 3 times because it's a slightly lighter string. And there we go. Oh, doesn't it look pretty with new strings on? Yes. You can already see, yeah, I know you can't see the strings that well, but get some light on the matter. I need a light over there. Right. Okay. And away we go. Right. We'll stop that there. Right, we got to the. I've got 5 strings on now, and we've just got the toppy to put on. Now the toppy is the lightest string. It's 11 thou, I think it is. I think because they're American, they're still in imperial, which is odd, really, isn't it? And so you push it in like that there, and you're bringing it up, and you go round, just like the other strings, exactly like the other strings. You go round, 1, 2, 3, and take it through. The little hole there, take it through, pull it, and go back round one more time, and go back through the hole the other way. It can make it a bit bloody of a bit of a pain in the arse just to sort of like replace this string later on, but it holds it in tune a little bit better. And when you've got it tight, same with all the other strings, just put a little kink of it on the edge there, okay, and cut it off. Do cut them off, okay. I know there was sort of like a thing with the rock stars in the 60s playing their gibbos with their strings sort of like their long hair reflected in their strings at the top, but I personally think it looks so much tidier when it's like that. Now it comes to tuning it up, okay, and new strings have got to be bedded in, okay, so just go round up through and just put some tension on, because these aren't, you're nowhere near in tune or anything like that. Just put some more tension on, and if you do it sort of like work your way across each time and each string, then work your way back again and work your way across that, you're building up the tension on the neck sort of like gently. You're not sort of like suddenly introducing a load of tension on the neck, because there's quite a force of pressure on the neck of a guitar when it's strung. And you'll hear this. Any of these, sometimes as you're tightening up, the pins might pop up, So all you have to do is push them down, and it's really good to go over there and push them down and make sure they're seated really, really well. And yeah, just bring them up, bring them up. And then what I do, okay, I get hold of the string and I stretch it like this. One, then the next one, then the next one. And move over and stretch all the strings with your hand, pulling it up firmly but not, and just come back again, doing each string. And you'll find if you check them before and afterwards, they would have dropped probably slightly more than probably a whole tone even sometimes, like, just by stretching them, because they will stretch when they bed in. But if you want to play a guitar and you want to play a guitar and you don't want it to go out of tune with new strings on it, like, the best thing is just give those strings a good stretch. Okay, we can look to see. See that one, I tuned that one just slightly high, and then I pulled it, I gave it another stretch, and it went down to being low. See, it's on the thing, and I pull that up, and it's gone down a quarter tone. Flats in there. There she goes. And keep. That's gone over. So never, when you're tuning a guitar, if you're not, when you don't go down to the note, always go up to the note. Okay, because going up to the note, basically you're putting more tension on the string. If you're going down to the note, you're releasing tension off the string, and it will probably release a little bit more afterwards, and so the note will go flat. So if you always tune up to the note, it's better that way. Right, now bringing those strings up, now you go for another stretch, all the way round and down, and then just tweak it up. A quarter tone, that is. Also the necks had more tension on it, so the necks moved. So the neck's being pulled that way. And one more time. so that's roughly in tune. And you can hear the difference from the beginning. New set of strings, all done. You could probably do it in about 15 minutes if you're not fanning about like I was there, like, you know, but that's all it takes. And then you've got the lovely sort of sound of the new strings, which give a bit more volume to the guitar. Well, I hope you can hear the difference. It's a bit brighter. Anyway, lovely new strings, so don't go and pay for people to change your strings, just do it yourself. Cheers.